Caleb Barnes with Frontstretch.com here today with Jordan Anderson, owner, obviously, of Jordan Anderson Racing. We're also here at Talladega. You're about to make a run this weekend. Before we talk about the team, I know you're working through some bugs with your cool suit, but you got that all sorted out now?
Yeah, we always love coming down here to Talladega. It's had a love-hate with this place in the past. Obviously with what happened with me here in the truck 2 years ago. Some crazy memories here with that, and then not too long after with our first team win with Jeb. So always special to come down here. We got going through tech today, so we haven't rolled yet. So with no practice, you want to make sure everything's all buttoned up and right. We go straight to qualifying the race tomorrow. So tomorrow will be a busy day. Today's a little bit more laid back with tech, so all the cars are going through inspection right now. So it's cool to have three of them here this weekend. I feel like we've got three really good cars, three good pieces, and I know Jeb and Parker are both really good at these races, and I've been really fortunate myself in the past. So we're just going to try to position ourselves to be in a good spot come the end of it tomorrow, and hopefully all three of them are running with not too much damage to go for checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, Daytona, 2 top 10s, and one of them was a 4th earlier this year as well, and you've been good there, had some shots at wins in the trucks as well. What is it about these super speedways that you've been able to find some success at?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest thing is it's a very fast-paced game of chess, and you've got to really be smart and strategic in the moves you make, and kind of being patient is probably the biggest thing, and just making sure you're there at the end. So many of these, you go to a downforce track or a short track, you're pretty much on go from the green flag to all the way out. And the early part of my career was I had one truck, or didn't have a whole lot of inventory, so you had to be really smart and really careful, and had to take care of your car and your equipment to make sure you not only got to the end of the race, but you had something to race for the following week. And I think that driving style that I had, I look back at even when I had my late model, but 2014, 15, 16, 17, even when we started the team officially in 18, the inventory of the cars wasn't very deep like we have today. So you had to make sure you were really strategic. You didn't pull any bonehead moves or didn't do anything crazy that put yourself in a bad spot to tear up a truck or a car for that fact. And I think that driving style really played well into this, and it's different when you obviously look at the truck series or the cup series, because it's just the racing's a little bit different. Cup, I feel like those guys will run 4 wide for 200 laps. Xfinity, that's the cars handle a little bit differently. They don't handle as good or drive as good. So sometimes you go 3 wide, somebody gets a little loose or tight, and that's when things kind of go sideways. But our goal for tomorrow is to be there at the end and have a shot at it. And I feel like if you can be in the top 15 with 10 to go, you have a shot at winning.
Yeah. You're talking about the inventory, growing the inventory of the team, and I just wanted to ask about the growth of the team in general. I know starting in the truck series, we'll start with that, but then you moved to the Xfinity series, kind of had a toe in both waters, and now 2 full-time cars, and as well as running the 32. Why did you decide to make that move from the truck to the Xfinity series?
Yeah, for us, it was kind of an idea that I thought when we first did it that we could do both. So if you go back and look at 2021, we tried to run we ran the full season of the trucks, and we had what happened with the Xfinity car with the rain delay. We came back and ran the rest of the year once we got in the top 40, and it made sense on paper. And then once we started in 22, I ran the first handful of races trying to do both, and they were just too different. The trucks run Ilmores, they were running different truck arms, different housings, obviously the steel bodies over there, so there wasn't a lot that made sense to go back and forth for us. So I said, I've got 2 teams here. I looked at everything on paper. I said, which one has got the most viable opportunity to be successful in the future? And at the time, we had Maya running for us full time, and I said, this is where our focus needs to be. So parked the truck, sold off all of our trucks we had that year, and put everything back in the Xfinity team, and just kind of doubled down and said, this is where we're going to go. And we made our bed there, and it's thankfully it's been a good decision that we made. Been very fortunate with good drivers and good teams. We doubled up to 2 cars in 2023, and we've had Jeb and Parker the last 2 years, and it's been great working with those guys. They've not only been good drivers, but they've added a lot of feedback. They've had some good partners that have allowed us to grow the team and build good inventory, and we've had a good relationship with Chevrolet that's helped a lot on that front. So it's I do miss the truck series. I do miss they were fun to race, and had a blast running those for the years that we did. But for the long-term growth of our team and the viability of it, it made sense to be in this garage area, and hopefully we'll just continue to keep growing and see what the future holds.
Yeah. So last year, had the win at Talladega and competed in the Xfinity Series playoffs. I know we heard this year with Wood Brothers making it, how big of a deal that was for them to just finish top 16 and the payout. Here in the Xfinity Series, How big of a deal was that last year making the Xfinity playoffs?
It was a great, for us, it was a great opportunity to say, hey, we're in the playoffs. Financially, it wasn't much difference to go from, Xfinity was 12. I think we would have probably finished 15th that year. So it wasn't honestly a huge bump to go from 15th to 12th, but just
Okay.
the prestige that came with saying, hey, we made the playoffs. This is a new team, our first time doing it. So that was a really cool opportunity for us to make that jump and gave us some good momentum in the offseason. This year has been one of those seasons where I don't really believe in luck, but we've had a lot of really good speed with maybe not the results to show for it. I feel like internally as a team, we've got a lot more depth. We bought a roamer arm over the offseason, so we're measuring a lot of our parts. Our stuff's getting closer. We spent a lot of time on the sim trying to figure out some of that stuff. So, we in the back end of it, I think we're getting better as a team. Just hopefully, with 6 to go here in the season, we can start knocking off some good results and show how hard our guys have been working back at the shop. But I do feel like a lot of the stuff we've been doing the last month or two will start to hopefully show here at the end of the year to kind of get our season turned around. But more importantly, kind of parlay that into next year to start off next year firing on all 8 cylinders.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be super important, getting that momentum into the offseason and all of that. So, just as you look back over the course of this season, there still have been some highs, but like you mentioned, just seeing the speed that is there, as well as having Jeb and Parker back, and then having that 32 car run. I know Austin Green has had some great runs. I guess, are, where are you at with evaluating the season and the performances of what you've seen from the 3 different teams so far this year?
Yeah, like I said, it's been a great learning season for us. We've certainly built our notebook. As the series evolves, there's other teams that step up, and we have to step up. And it's a constant battle to keep fighting that, to keep up, to make sure we are moving forward and our stuff is getting better. So I think the biggest thing for us, I look back on the year, even going back to Richmond, getting our first pole with Parker. I mean, that was a huge, huge thing. I've got the pole flag hanging right underneath our first win flag in the shop. So that was big for us. Jeb's had a lot of good speed, to go run the road courses. Austin's come in with his top 5s and top 10s. That's made our road course program better. It's helped. You look at Parker's stats this year on the road courses, he stepped his game up quite a bit. So it's made that side of things a lot better. Then you look at the speed that these guys have had, and to be able to be in contention. Looking at Parker last week, he drove up all the way to right outside the top 10 before he had the pit road issue last week. So the speed's definitely there, and I think our guys have got some confidence so they can do it. And we're learning, again, going back to some things in the shop that we're doing and trying to grow. It's kind of funny. You look at this garage area. You can race the team and be very competitive up until about, I'd say, 15th, because the top 15 teams are all cup affiliated in some shape, fashion, or form. We don't have a technical alliance or anything like that. So, for us to make the next step up, it comes a bigger financial investment to say we're going to keep chomping away at that. And we've committed, my partner, John Bomarito, on the team, we've kind of looked at a 5-year plan of this, of starting to pick and choose things that we can start investing in to not only be more financially responsible on that side of things, to be here for a long time to come, but to make our cars better in the long run and just be able to be better on that side of things. So it's a little bit of money ball to try to figure out how to make all that stuff work and make sure everything keeps clicking, and to say, hey, we're moving up a little bit at a time to be better every year.
Yeah. Just a few more for you. You're mentioning some of these teams, like a look over your shoulder. There's Sam Hunt Racing. We've got Young's Motorsports here. They've been moving to the Xfinity. They're kind of following your trajectory, right? The Siegs, like BGM. What it is about the Xfinity series that allows some of these teams that don't necessarily have the alliances to still flourish and to still do pretty well? Because, you see Jeremy Clements have some great runs. You see some of these guys, Corey Heim and the Sam Hunt stuff, like obviously Parker and Jeb have had their runs. What is it that allows them to flourish and still kind of show that without those alliances?
I think the biggest thing is you've got a bigger variety of teams that exist on this side of the garage area. And it kind of hit me when I was at Bristol the other week. Me and some of the guys had drove up early to watch the ARCA and the truck race at Bristol. Just fans in the stands. We just were sitting there to spectate, and I'm looking down the infield, and in the truck series, I think you've literally got 4 teams make up 22, 23 trucks. So you've got more than half the field come from 4 teams, which is crazy to think that they're that big on that side. Yeah. So here you've obviously got some of your bigger teams, but you've got a bigger variety of teams on, the last 3 quarters of the field, and those guys can sneak in and have good runs. And everybody on this side of the garage area has had some top 5s, top 10s this year, where maybe that doesn't exist in the truck side, but you look at the Xfinity series, I feel like they've done a great job with the motor package that exists here, the bodies that exist here, the tolerances are a lot tighter. It comes on the team to saying, hey, we got to figure out how to make sure our stuff doesn't break, make sure we're there at the end of the race, because the fields are getting a lot closer. I mean, you look at most weekends, there's 20, 25. I mean, there was a race earlier this year. I think there were 30 plus cars that finished on the lead lap, and that goes out to how tight the field is. So I think that's where you see a lot of teams on this side of the garage area are able to flourish and succeed and make it work. And hopefully with the CW coming next year, we're going to see more interest from partners. That's one thing with me this week, and we have Volpe stepped on board to sponsor me at Daytona and here at Talladega. They did a 2-race deal with us. We're talking about what we're going to do next year, but there's huge interest from a lot of our partners that are seeing the CW come in, that see the exposure and the value of that stuff, that want to continue to become involved in this side of the sport.
Absolutely. So you mentioned kind of looking at things for next year. Have you gotten anything settled with drivers? Are you going to run a 32 more often, or make it a full-time? You could bump up to 3 cars. I know that's a lot.
Yeah.
You have anything set in stone yet?
Nothing full-time for the third car. That's an opportunity for me to race some speedways and, to help out, give some other drivers some opportunities where it makes sense. And so that will kind of stay our, part-time R&D all-star car, whatever you want to call it. We're working through all the details now. We'll have 2 cars back full-time next year for sure. The 27 and 31 will be back. We're navigating through all that stuff right now. Silly season is in full swing.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have some stuff figured out. So we're working on it. It's coming, but it's exciting. A lot of good stuff on the horizon for next year.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Oh, just popped in my head, and I can totally cut this if you want me to. Do you have any thoughts on the charter stuff going down right now, or since you're a team owner? I know the Xfinity side of things, but I'm sure you're watching it with interest.
Yeah,
right?
I don't have a dog in the fight. That's a different world over there as far as the financial side of things and what those things go for. But hopefully through all that stuff, hopefully the sport will continue to grow. I feel like there's a lot of really good positive momentum. I mean, you're seeing a lot of fans back in the grandstands. You're seeing more people here in the pits. There's a lot of interest from new partners coming in. Again, going back on the CW deal with the Xfinity series. So hopefully, the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the sport is on a upward trend, and hopefully it stays that way. So hopefully that won't be a distraction of how good the product is on track for every series that's here this weekend. Hopefully it'll just keep getting better. So hopefully I can get it all figured out and get it behind us soon, so we can get back racing.
Yeah, no, I agree. As long as we're all focusing on the racing, and it's better for the sport. So thanks so much for having me today and meeting me. For Frontstretch.com, I'm Caleb Barnes. Hope you enjoyed.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.